Exclusive contract novel from Feilu Novel Network. Live broadcast of popular science on the Imperial tomb. Ancient emperors are enraged. Qin Feng unexpectedly travels through and becomes a host of popular science on the Imperial tomb. Who knew that his live broadcast could connect with ancient times? When ancient emperors saw their tombs, they were all furious. Liu Bei. My tomb is actually at the Zhuge Wuhou temple. Master, come over here and let's have a good conversation. Chow chow. What? Gu Tian let someone touch Jin Shaowei to steal his tomb, but surprisingly, his own tomb was also stolen. Zhu Yuanzhang. How unreasonable. Why are there only 2 stone lions left in our tomb? Wait. How could Lao Si also have an imperial tomb? Or in Beiping? Yingzheng. My first emperor's mausoleum has been untouched for 2,000 years. Am I proud? By the way, Hu Hai, come and make Father Emperor hurt you. Until one day, Qin Feng arrived at the People's Heroes and Martyrs Cemetery. All emperors stand up. Feilu Novel Network reminds you that this novel and its characters are purely fictional. If there are any similarities, they are purely coincidental and should not be imitated. Chapter 1 Live broadcast of Wuhou Temple, seen by Liu Bei. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Friends, our current location is the Wuhou Temple in Chengdu. The imperial tomb we are exploring today is the tomb of Emperor Zhaolai of Han, Liu Bei. In the scorching summer, Qin Feng stood at the entrance of the Wuhou Temple and began a new day's live broadcast. Watching the sporadic increase in the number of people, he could only hope for more traffic today. In fact, Qin Feng is not from this world. He came through ups and downs and became an unknown Chinese history science popularization anchor. But in this world, people are not interested in Chinese culture, and young people prefer braid plays, such as the Xia Girl by the Daming Lake and the Iron Teeth and Copper Teeth of the 4 or 9 cities. Either it's Western mythology, medieval nobility, or the magical world. In order to increase some popularity, Qin Feng came up with a unique idea and directly popularized the imperial tombs, which is the first among historical anchors. Come on, let's continue walking inside. Qin Feng adjusted his emotions and walked towards the Wuhou Temple while earnestly educating the audience in the live broadcast room. And another time and space. During the Three Kingdoms period. In July of the 24th year of Jianan. Yizhou, Chengdu, the main hall of the palace. Congratulations, Lord, on ascending to the position of King of Hanzhong. Liu Bei, who had just defeated Cao Cao in the Battle of Hanzhong, held a grand banquet with his courtiers and proudly received congratulations from the various officials in Shu. Ha ha ha. Liu Bei's face turned red as he drank, and he stood up and laughed, saying, "Come on, today my lord and minister will not return until they are drunk." Zhang Fei, Zhao Yun, Huang Zhong, Ma Chao, Fa Zheng, Li Yan and other civil and military officials raised their glasses and vowed to rest drunk on this joyful day. Only Zhuge Liang shook his goose feather fan with a sorrowful expression on his face. Since the great victory in the Battle of Hanzhong, Zhuge Liang has been feeling a faint unease. Everyone is too proud, too indulgent, and even to the point of arrogance, constantly mocking Cao Cao for his lack of strategy and son Quan for his lack of intelligence. Zhuge Liang once advised Liu Bei not to be careless until his great cause was achieved. Liu Bei, who had fought for a lifetime, wanted to enjoy himself. For the first time in his life, he didn't listen to Zhuge Liang's words and announced a 3-day banquet as soon as he arrived in Chengdu. Yesterday. The Kuai Malay news from Jingzhou reported that Guan killed Pang De in the Battle of Xiangfan, captured him in the Forbidden City, flooded the 7 armies, and shook China. As soon as this news spread, it was like cooking oil on fire, with victories one after another, leaving Liu Bei and his ministers all feeling dizzy with happiness. Some even claim that within March, the world will return to Lu Han. Sigh. Zhuge Liang sighed, feeling a bit uneasy. He always felt that these big victories were too fast and fierce, making people float in the sky and feeling uneasy. Master, on a joyful day, don't sigh. Liu Bei was already half drunk and grinned, my second brother is invincible in the world. Chao Amon must not be able to jump around for long. When we celebrate again next time, it might be in Su Du's palace. Ha ha ha. As he spoke, Liu Bei couldn't help but burst into laughter. Zhuge Liang couldn't bear it anymore, he wanted to speak his heart out quickly. Even if it dampens everyone's mood and angers Liu Bei, he must pour a bucket of cold water to make everyone more sober. Report. Lord, suddenly a good omen falls from outside the palace. Just as Zhuge Liang was about to express his emotions, an excited guard ran into the main hall. Auspicious. Quickly, take me to take a look. Liu Bei's eyes lit up and he walked happily outside the hall. What do you really want? Since ancient times, those who achieve great things have had some signs, haven't they? This is called conforming to the will of heaven. I didn't expect the big victories to come one after another, even the auspicious signs came so timely. In the future, if we unify the world, it must be Liu Bei who didn't run away. The more Liu Bei thought, the happier he became, and the speed under his feet also increased significantly. Ha ha ha, big brother, this is fate. Let's go and see the auspiciousness too. Zhang Fei impatiently took the lead and rushed out. Zhao Yun, Huang Zhong, Ma Chao, Li Yan, Fa Zheng and others also followed out curiously. Military advisor, why don't we go take a look together? Ma Su stood around Zhuge Liang and asked softly. I think that's quite impressive. Zhuge Liang sighed in frustration and said, it must be someone who flatters and arranges a good show. If you want the Lord to go further and become emperor, they can also be promoted to higher ranks. Ma Su watched eagerly as everyone left, feeling itchy and wanting to go and see Xiangrui. But he was Zhuge Liang's confidant, and Zhuge Liang didn't move, so he didn't want to run and see it himself. If you want to go, go ahead and don't bother me here. Zhuge Liang had already recognized Ma Su's thoughts. Still too young. Obey me. Ma Su was overjoyed and ran away from the main hall. Under the eaves of the corridor outside the hall, Liu Bei and his ministers were all staring blankly at the sky. A huge picture appeared in front of everyone in the sky. In the picture, a handsome young man is speaking enthusiastically. His voice was also clear and distinguishable, echoing all around, and everyone could hear it clearly. On the other side of the screen, Qin Feng, who was explaining, unexpectedly found that the number of people in the live broadcast room suddenly increased by hundreds. He was immediately uplifted and began to explain more attentively. He arrived at the main entrance of the Wuhou temple, and on the antique gate, there was a gilded plaque hanging from the Han Zhaolai temple. Friends, have you seen this plaque? This is the place where tourists question tour guides the most. Qin Feng pointed to the plaque on the gate and said, people often ask, tour guide, isn't this the Wuhou temple in Chengdu? Why is it written as the Han Zhaolai temple at the entrance? Here, I would like to popularize with you that Zhao Lai was the posthumous title of Liu Bei during the late Han dynasty and the Three Kingdoms period, and the Wuhou temple is a temple commemorating Zhuge Liang. The Wuhou temple is the only temple in history that worships both monarchs and ministers together. The tomb of Liu Bei's true body, which dates back 1800 years, is also here. Chapter 2. Shared Ancestral Hall. Zhuge Liang, you're playing. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Under the eaves of the main hall corridor, Qin Feng's explanation stunned Liu Bei and his ministers. The amount of information inside is really explosive. 1800 years ago. Liu Bei's real body. Zhuge Wuhou Temple. Han Zhaolai Temple. Despite being too bizarre, think tank figures such as Fa Zheng, Li Yan, and Quan quickly reacted. That is to say, this image that appears out of thin air shows events after 1800 years. And the location of the boy on the screen should be the ancestral hall where Liu Bei and Zhuge Liang died. Huh, big brother, this is your tomb, Han Zhaolai Temple. You really became the emperor. Zhang Fei burst out laughing excitedly. Generals such as Huang Zhong, Ma Chao, and Zhao Yun also congratulated each other. After 1800. Han Zhaolai. Is this my posthumous title? Liu Bei squinted his eyes and looked at the screen in a daze. But the young man said that this is the only temple in history that worships both the ruler and the subjects together. Thinking of this, Liu Bei couldn't help but frown slightly and couldn't help but glance at Zhuge Liang in the hall. The ministers also looked at Zhuge Liang with complex eyes. If, as the young man on the screen said, Liu Bei became the emperor, then Zhuge Liang would be the Marquis of Wu. There's nothing unusual about this. After all, Zhuge Liang was loyal and devoted, and he planned half of the country for Liu Bei. It can be said that he worked hard and achieved great success. It is indeed appropriate to be appointed as a marquis. But the problem is, after all, Zhuge Liang is a minister. How can he live in the same temple and share the temple with the monarch? This is very disrespectful. And at the same time. Su Du. Prime Minister's office. Ha, it's really heaven's help for me. If Liu Bei's children see his tomb merged with the ancestral hall of Zhuge Liang, one of his courtiers, there will probably be a rift between the emperor and the courtiers. Seeing the content appearing in the sky, Cao Cao clapped his hands and laughed heartily. Father, if this is really a prophecy from the 1800 generation, wouldn't it mean that Liu Bei will become emperor in the future? Qiao Pai's eyebrows twisted into a knot on the side. He was still eagerly waiting for Cao Cao to die and find a way to abolish Han Xian Emperor's independence. Don't panic. Cao Cao smiled and waved his hand, saying, Yuan Shu also served as emperor back then, but wasn't he completely defeated? As for the emperor, anyone can be an emperor. Perhaps Liu Bei's child just wanted to be addicted to the emperor, and coincidentally, he was remembered by future generations. Father, Sima Yi is seeking an audience outside the mansion. Cao Ji respectfully reported. You came just in time, let him also see the spectacle. Cao Cao smiled and said. After a moment. Sima Yi walked into the Prime Minister's mansion with great respect, and without looking at him, he approached Cao Cao and said, I inform the Prime Minister that Eastern Wu has agreed to join forces to block Guan Yu. In the Battle of Xiangfan, with the cooperation of Dongwu, our army could quickly turn defeat into victory. Cao Cao nodded with satisfaction and said, very good. Zhongde, come and see. Today, there is a wonder in the Prime Minister's mansion. Upon hearing this, Sima Yi looked up into the distance and was immediately taken aback. Qiao Pai, who had always been friendly with him, explained the whole story of the matter. Oh! What will happen after 1800? Is there such a strange thing in the world? Sima Yi was also greatly surprised, staring intently at the screen. Jingzhou, Xiangfan battlefield. Emperor Zhaolai of Han deserves the title of Big Brother. However, how could a military strategist share the sacrifice with Big Brother? It's really unreasonable. Guan Yu was indignant and indignant. He has always had a high eye, and apart from Liu Bei, no one looks down upon him. Send me an order, ordering Mi Fang and Fu Shiren to quickly mobilize 20,000 elite soldiers to come over. I want to attack Xiangfan with one go and go north to attack Chao. Guan Yu was very dissatisfied and determined to make another great contribution. In his heart, if there really was someone who could share the ancestral temple with Liu Bei, it should also be his Guan Yu. How could it not be Zhuge Liang's turn? Another time and space. In the 11th year of the Han dynasty, it was winter. Chang'e Palace. Major Snow Emperor Zhaolai of Han. It seems that he is also my descendant. Liu Bang lay on his sickbed, looking quite pleased at the Wuhou temple where Qin Feng was located on the screen. I don't know, did this descendant named Liu Bei argue with us? He was very curious and wanted to know what kind of person Liu Bei was. Liu Bang, who had just returned from the rebellion in Ningbu, was injured by an arrow and could not recover for a long time. The palace physician was also driven away by him. Seriously injured. Liu Bang still left behind his bold words. I have taken 3 feet of cloth and clothing to conquer the world. This is not fate. Life is in heaven, although the flat magpie is useless. Empress LV inquired about her future affairs. Liu Bang sighed and didn't say a word. He just wanted to know in his heart how long the great Han Empire he established could last, and whether it would also perish like Qin Shi Huang did. At this moment, a sudden appearance in the sky startled everyone. But Liu Bang did not panic at all, but listened attentively to Qin Feng's explanation. It seems that the heavens are treating me well, and they can still show me a glimpse of future generations' descendants. Liu Bang said with satisfaction. Han, in the 2nd year of the Zhenghe era. The calamity of witchcraft and witchcraft has existed in the past. Weiyang Palace. In his old age, Emperor Wu of Han, Liu Che, carried his hands behind his back and gazed deep into the sky before him. Han. Emperor Zhaolai, it seems that he is my descendant. Liu Che's lips showed a hint of relief as he said, if someone can still offer sacrifices, it shows that this grandson has done a good job. As soon as he thought of his descendants, Liu Che's smile gradually faded away. Yesterday, Jiang Chong secretly reported that his eldest son, Crown Prince Liu Ju of the Han dynasty, and Empress Wei Zifu were preparing to rebel. Liu Che was deeply saddened by the joint rebellion between his beloved woman and son, and immediately ordered preparations to suppress it. He ordered Jiang Chong to capture the Crown Prince alive, and he wanted to ask the Crown Prince personally why he wanted to rebel. What will happen 1,000 years later? How will future generations evaluate me? Liu Che muttered to himself, staring mesmerized at the explanation of Qin Feng on the screen. Chapter 3. Big Brother Zhu Yuanzhang, who in the world has? You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Qin. In the 37th year of the reign of King Qin. Before the 5th Eastern tour of the first emperor. Long-term high-intensity government work has overdrawn Yingzheng's life. The belief in immortality is growing day by day in his heart. This time on a tour to the east. Yingzheng made up his mind to find the immortal and obtain the miraculous elixir. Even if one cannot live long, at least they will have a few more years of longevity. Zhangtai Hall. Yingzheng, who was preparing for his eastward tour, was stopped by a strange event. Emperor Zhaolai. Han. Yingzheng's face turned extremely cold and he said, I remember, my country's name is Qin, right? Where did Han come from? Answer me. Moment the powerful imperial pressure swept across the entire Zhangtai Hall. Li Si, Zhao Gao, Hu Hai, and others were all frightened and their faces turned pale. This is really unlucky. The first emperor was just full of ambition to seek immortality and medicine, in order to achieve immortality. But as a result, a later image emerged, along with Emperor Zhaolai of Han. This also means that the emperor has been replaced, and the first emperor did not seek immortality. My lifelong dream is shattered, not to mention that even the name of the great Qin no longer exists. Yingzheng almost fainted from anger. If this matter is not clarified, it is feared that the entire Qin Empire will be stirred up by a bloody storm. Daming. In the 15th year of the Hongwu reign. Ying Tianfu. Imperial Palace, Fengtian Palace. Sister, Biaoer, do you think we're sleeping soundly? Is what the kid in this picture saying true or false? Zhu Yuanzhang carried his hands behind his back, slightly hunched his body, and looked at the scene in the sky outside the Fengtian Hall. Qin Feng is earnestly explaining the Wuhou temple in the picture. Emperor Lai of the Han dynasty, Liu Bei, died in the 24th year of the Jianan reign of the Han dynasty. This young man said it was 1800 years before the death of Emperor Zhaolai. Zhu Biao frowned carefully and said, now it is the 15th year of Hongwu, and it is 1159 years away from the 24th year of Han Jianan. That is to say, this young person's era is 640 years away from us. 600 years from now. Upon hearing this number, Empress Ma was also surprised. There is really such a strange thing in the world that one can see what will happen 600 years later. Haha, that would be great. I don't know how our descendants of the Zhu family will be governing in 600 years, but we are curious. Zhu Yuanzhang rubbed his hands and his eyes were about to light up. Dad, is there any family in the world that can stand firm for 600 years? You better not stay too outdated. Zhu Biao smiled bitterly and shook his head. He was different from Zhu Yuanzhang, a knowledgeable monarch who had read a lot of poetry and naturally understood the principles of prosperity and decline. You brat, pour cold water on your old man. Zhu Yuanzhang glared at Zhu Biao, but couldn't bear to continue blaming him. After all, what Zhu Biao said also made sense. Strong as the Han and Tang dynasties, it only has a lifespan of 300 to 400 years in the end. Daming would be grateful if he could be like them. Wuhou Temple. Zhu Yuanzhang pondered and said, I just don't know what our tomb and yours will look like 600 years from now. Are there so many people worshipping us? To be honest, Zhu Yuanzhang felt a bit envious when he saw the scene of the Wuhou Temple being crowded and unable to move. If there were still so many people who remember him in 600 years, it wouldn't be a waste of his life. Dad, it seems like we can have a conversation with the boy in the picture. Zhu Biao carefully discovered that the images in the sky can be connected to the palace, and even have a dialogue function. Zhu Yuanzhang immediately became interested and said, Boss, why don't you ask? What is the situation with our tomb? Can you ask this kid to help us take a look? Watch it carefully, we will receive a lot of rewards. Empress Ma joked, just talking nonsense. How can you reward someone who lives 600 years from now? That's true. Aren't we afraid this kid won't be willing to help? Zhu Yuanzhang grinned. He comes from a poor background and has been struggling in this world for many years. His control over people's hearts has reached a perfect level. He knows better than anyone that money can make ghosts grind. If you want others to do things for you, then first you need to show some benefits and sincerity. Otherwise, if you are not related, how can you help you? Of course. Zhu Yuanzhang had another set of rules for being a good person. If you are not willing to seek benefits, you can also reward the 9 clans with a set of entertainment. Dad, Mom, not to mention, this thing really seems to have a tipping function. Zhu Biao exclaimed in surprise. Is this thing so comprehensive? Hurry up. Give him 100 taels of gold directly, let him show us our own tomb, and let him introduce us to our whole life. Zhu Yuanzhang was very bold and made a move of 100 taels of gold. And another time and space. Inside the Wuhou Temple. Qin Feng, who was explaining live, suddenly saw someone frantically brushing gifts in the live broadcast room. The gifts are not cheap, they are all the most expensive carnivals, about 3,000 each. This user with the ID Zhu Yuanzhang used 666 of them, which is a gift worth over 2 million yuan, and directly pushed Zhu Yuanzhang to the top spot on the list. Thank you, brother Zhu Yuanzhang, for sending out 666 carnivals. Brother Zhu Yuanzhang is full of courage. After a moment of confusion, Qin Feng immediately expressed his gratitude. Chapter 4. Zhuge Liang cried, I am a loyal minister. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Even in this world. Qin Feng is not a wealthy person either. Apart from having a profound understanding of history, he has almost no particular skill. Live streaming of the emperor's tomb is just a way to make a living. He thought this road might be very difficult. After all, in this world, not many people are interested in Chinese history and culture. I didn't expect it. As soon as he came up, the wealthy elder brother gave him a reward, which instantly made Qin Feng more confident. Zhu Yuanzhang's ID looks like an iron fan of Emperor Hongwu. I'm going, really fake. A little historical science anchor, how could someone even give him a reward? Is his head broken? Oh my god, it's indeed the era of nationwide live streaming. With just one free gift, it's over 2 million yuan. What a tycoon. 666, Boss Zhu Yuanzhang is so impressive. Come to my live broadcast room anytime to give me a tip and search for outdoor food and broadcast big kids online. Boss Zhu Yuanzhang, are you coming to my sister's live broadcast room? The Luan family will show you the stockings. Daming. Fengtian Hall. All the messages below the screen can be seen in real-time by Zhu Yuanzhang, Empress Ma, and Zhu Biao. Dad, it seems that there are other people who can see our reward, and everyone is praising your arrogance. Zhu Biao smiled and said. Cut, it's just 100 taels of gold. It's a small joke, we have plenty of money. Zhu Yuanzhang said arrogantly, Boss, tell this kid that as long as we do what we ask for well, there will be plenty of rewards. Zhu Biao agreed and immediately communicated with Qin Feng in the live broadcast room. Wuhou Temple. Zhu Yuanzhang. Little brother, can you take me to see the tombs of Zhu Yuanzhang and Zhu Biao's father and son? By the way, could you explain their lives? I'm very interested. After seeing his eldest brother Zhu Yuanzhang's request, Qin Feng immediately agreed to it. Don't worry, brother Zhu Yuanzhang. From your name, I know you will definitely be interested in Emperor Hongwu Zhu Yuanzhang and Crown Prince Yuan Zhu Biao. After I finish talking about the Wuhou Temple, the next stop will be arranged at Ming Shaoling. Fengtian Hall. What did he say? Who is Prince Yuan? Zhu Yuanzhang was stunned for a while, thinking that he was getting old and had misheard. Dad, he seems to be saying that I am Prince Yuan. Zhu Biao is also a bit sluggish. Prince Yuan, as long as he is not an idiot, knows that this is a posthumous title bestowed upon him after his death. And if the posthumous title is the Crown Prince, the meaning can't be clearer. Zhu Biao has never been an emperor of the Ming dynasty. He will only be a crown prince until he dies. So his ending is already very clear. During his reign, he died an untimely death. What exactly is going on? Empress Ma also became excited. Zhu Biao is her son whom she values and loves the most. How could she just watch Zhu Biao die? Impossible, absolutely impossible. Zhu Yuanzhang's whole body was not doing well, and his thick palms began to shake violently. His voice trembled slightly and he said, Boss, you quickly ask him what's going on. Did he say it wrong? At this moment. During the Three Kingdoms period. Chengdu, Palace. A bunch of nonsense. Zhuge Liang stood under the eaves of the main hall, looking at the Qin Feng in the picture, his nose twisted with anger. Lord, the loyalty of Liang can be observed by the sun and moon. Even if Liang were to be thrown into the wilderness and buried in the Green Mountains, he wouldn't dare to share the temple with the Lord. Zhuge Liang was so anxious that his face turned red, constantly defending himself. But his defense, in the eyes of others, was somewhat pale and powerless. After all, they are from the era after 1800. At that time, they have long been dust to dust. There is an old saying that goes well, it's called, closing the coffin and determining the conclusion. Zhuge Liang is indeed loyal now, but who knows what will happen in the future. This Lord, all colleagues, shine with sincerity, can illuminate the sun and moon, do not trust this child's nonsense. Zhuge Liang is about to cry. This time, even if you jump into the Yellow River, you won't be able to wash it off. He just wanted to advise Liu Bei to pay attention to the Xiangfan battlefield. What else did you say now? I am about to revel in the eyes of others. Military strategist, there's no need to worry. Let's continue to listen carefully and see what's going on. Maybe there's some misunderstanding. Liu Bei comforted Zhuge Liang with indifference. That's what he said, but he also felt a bit scared. To be honest, Liu Bei never doubted Zhuge Liang's character and loyalty. He was like a piece of white jade, without any flaws. Sometimes, Liu Bei even doubted himself, was there really such a perfect person in this world? Perfect things are almost no longer like humans. The scene on today's screen, along with the strange words spoken by the young man, left a shadow in Liu Bei's heart. Okay. Zhuge Liang was also very helpless, so he could only listen to the young man on the screen continue speaking. At this moment, he is focused and listens more attentively than anyone else, and is completely different from the previous one who was indifferent to auspicious signs. Wuhou Temple. Zhu Yuanzhang. Little brother, what did you mean by saying Prince Yuan Zhu Biao just now? Did Zhu Biao die before becoming emperor? Seeing Zhu Yuanzhang's barrage in the live broadcast room, Qin Feng didn't find it strange. After all, in this world where Chinese culture is not very prosperous, Zhu Biao is also considered an obscure figure. Many people may not know his ending. Yes, Zhu Biao did not become emperor. He died suddenly in the 25th year of the Hongwu reign, and Zhu Yuanzhang felt deeply saddened. Therefore, he was given the posthumous title of Prince Yuan. After Qin Feng casually explained, he continued, Brother Zhu Yuanzhang, please be calm. After today's lecture on the Wuhou Temple, I will immediately fly to Nanjing tomorrow to live stream the Ming Shaoling. There will be all the answers you want. In Chapter 5, Gong did not feel any difference during his time. Self-proclaimed. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Fengtian Hall. After hearing Qin Feng's explanation, Empress Ma suddenly felt dizzy and couldn't bear the sudden blow, fainting on the ground. Girl. Mother. Hurry up. Pass on the imperial physician quickly. Zhu Yuanzhang and Zhu Biao, father and son, hurriedly helped up Empress Ma, without hesitation in asking Qin Feng what was going on. Da Qin. Okay, it seems that later generations not only produced a Han Empire, but also a Ming Empire. It's really exciting. In the Zhangtai Hall, Yingzheng also saw the dialogue between Qin Feng and Zhu Yuanzhang, and immediately realized that in future generations, besides Emperor Zhaolai of Han, there was also a Ming Shaoling mausoleum. That is to say, in the later generations after the Great Qin Empire, there were at least 2 different dynasties. However, Yingzheng's hope for the continuation of the beautiful dream of the Great Qin for thousands of years has been completely shattered. Li Si, give this person a reward of 1,000 taels to go to the tomb of the first emperor. I want to see with my own eyes what my tomb looks like and listen to how I died. After my death, what happened to my Great Qin? Yingzheng's majestic voice rang out in the main hall. Just now, Li Si also researched the usage of live streaming rooms and, like Zhu Biao, discovered the functions of chatting and tipping. Obey me. Li Si dared not show any negligence and immediately gave a tip in the live broadcast room, quickly asking the question that Emperor Shi wanted to ask. Wuhou Temple. Hundreds of carnival gift packages were flying around the live broadcast room again, and Qin Feng saw that it was a person with an ID named Emperor Shi Yingzheng. Thank you to my founding emperor, Brother Yingzheng, for bringing us the carnival. Qin Feng was overjoyed and immediately expressed his gratitude. And as expected, the founding emperor Yingzheng also rushed to the position of the second eldest brother in the live broadcast room. I'm going, are you crazy? Did so many people like history? Even if you like it, it's impossible to get millions of gifts, right? It's probably a request from the anchor. Definitely. I don't believe there are so many people who are foolish and have a lot of money, giving a boring history anchor a good reward. Ah, anchor, why are you burning money like this? There are already few people who like history, and even if you give yourself such a big reward, there won't be much popularity. In the live broadcast room, many people began to question Qin Feng, thinking that this was a good scene he wanted to direct and act for the sake of fame. Because this world is an era of universal live streaming, many new anchors may seem like novices, but in fact, there are big companies operating behind them. Rewarding oneself is also considered a basic operation. Seeing these questioning voices, Qin Feng smiled slightly and did not defend himself. First Emperor Yuanzhang. Little brother, I want to see the tomb of the first emperor of Great Qin and learn about his life. I hope you can help me. Qin Feng readily agreed and said, Okay, brother Yuanzhang, I can tell from your name that you have a passion for the history of the Qin dynasty. After I have explained the Wuhou temple and the tomb of Emperor Shaoling of the Ming dynasty, I will go to Xi'an immediately to show my eldest brother the tomb of the first emperor, as well as China's treasure-level historical and cultural heritage, the terracotta warriors of the first emperor of Qin. Da Qin. Zhangtai Hall. Terracotta warriors. Yuanzhang was stunned for a moment before revealing a faint smile. I didn't expect that my terracotta warriors would still be preserved in future generations. It's quite anticipated. Okay, that's settled. Yuanzhang ordered, Li Si, the 5th East tour will be cancelled temporarily, and the decision will not be made until this person has explained my mausoleum and terracotta warriors. Follow the instructions. Li Si nodded respectfully and said. Tang Dynasty. The main hall of the Imperial Palace. The Wuhou Temple, the Ming Shaoling Mausoleum, and the tomb of the first emperor. It seems that this young man from later generations knows a lot about it. Li Shimin looked at the sky with great interest and said, would also like to see if my tomb will be as prosperous as the Wuhou Temple in 1,000 years. Your Majesty, why is this difficult? Just ask this son directly. Changsun Wuji spoke up. It's not urgent. Li Shimin shook his head and said, let's wait until we finish reading the lives of these emperors. The Song. Jingyangang. Ha. Wu Song, who had just killed a fierce tiger, was sweating profusely as he gazed at the strange scenery in the sky. But it's just a moment of rest. He lowered his head and stood up, ready to rush home. He is not interested in anyone's imperial tomb. The only one who can move his heartstrings is his brother Wu Dalong at home. Inside the palace. Official, great joy. The heavens have descended upon us, and our Song dynasty is destined to last for thousands of years. Gao Qiu was playing kuju with Emperor Huizong of Song when he saw the scene in the sky and immediately flattered him. This young man comes from later generations and must also know where my tomb is. Emperor Huizong of Song's eyes sparkled brightly as he hurriedly said, Gao Aiqing, find an opportunity to ask this person and let him go to my imperial tomb to see if he is also admired by thousands of people. Gao Qiu smiled and said, follow the order. Wuhou Temple. Qin Feng continued to explain the history of Liu Bei and Zhuge Liang. I think many people know that in history, emperors of various dynasties have had relatively high evaluations of Zhuge Liang. But no one can say how high the evaluation is. Qin Feng walked up to a stone tablet and said, in the Tang dynasty, 1,200 years ago, the veteran Prime Minister Feidu, who had gone through 7 dynasties, inscribed his admiration for Zhuge Liang on this stone tablet. He said, I, Feidu, read through old history and found that Zhuge Liang was the only minister in history who possessed the integrity of serving a ruler, the talent of founding a country, the way of standing up, and the art of governing people. During the Eastern Jin dynasty, the prime minister, Quan, who was in power at that time, once went to Shu and asked the local elderly, Prime Minister Zhuge, who would compare today. In fact, Quan wanted to compare himself with Zhuge Liang, and the old man's answer could be considered a masterpiece for eternity. He said that even when Duke Gu was alive, he didn't feel any difference. After Duke Ji's death, there was no comparison. Da Qin. Zhangtai Hall. Qin Feng's words echoed in the main hall. Yuanzhang and other officials were all secretly enchanted. Zhuge Liang is the only one who is responsible for the integrity of the ruler, the talent for founding the country, the way to establish oneself, and the art of governing people. When Gong was present, he didn't feel any difference. After his death, there was no comparison. Such evaluation is unparalleled for eternity. This son's words are excessive. Yingzheng shook his head confidently and said, "Is it the only one? I, the Duke of Daqin, who can't deserve this comment. Just say Prime Minister Li Si, since entering Qin, his conduct towards the ruler has never changed. His talent for founding the country is even more abundant. I, the Prime Minister of Great Qin, am by no means inferior to Marquis Zhuge." Upon hearing Yingzheng's affirmation, Liston was extremely excited. "Thank you very much for your praise, Your Majesty. I am truly deserving of it." Although he appears very scared on the surface, his heart has already blossomed with joy. There are probably not many people in this world who can receive such an evaluation from the first emperor. Da Han. Changle Palace. Liu Bang lay on the sickbed, with a myriad of thoughts, his mind constantly echoing the words spoken by Qin Feng. How powerful can a person be if they have supreme evaluation after 1800? Zhuge Liang, how could future generations have such a high evaluation of him? What exactly did this person do? Is he even more powerful than Xiao He, Zhang Liang, and Han Xian? Liu Bang's heart became increasingly curious. He really wants to know. How did this descendant named Zhuge Liang assist his descendant Liu Bei? Another time and space. Weiyang Palace. Liu Che shares the same ideas and curiosity as Liu Bang. Not only that. Liu Bang was envious from the bottom of his heart. I envy my descendant Liu Bei for having such a vassal. Not only does he have a sincere heart, but he is also extremely talented and unique in the world. It's not easy to meet such a person. Of course. In his era, there were also such figures. Wei Qing and Hua Zubing both have talent and loyalty. Unfortunately, they all died too early. Liu Che wasted half of his life, but only managed to find someone similar to Zhuge Liang before his death, who was enough to entrust future affairs with peace of mind. Hua Guang, I believe that after my death, you will definitely help me take good care of this great Han's territory. Liu Che's eyes lit up and he murmured confidently. Chapter 6. Cao Cao's Confidence, Sima is Cao. You are listening at novelfull.audio. 3 Kingdoms. Su Du, Prime Minister's Office. How unreasonable. Zhuge Shower, how could there be such an evaluation? Upon hearing Qin Feng's explanation in the picture, Cao Cao was about to explode with anger. Rather than being angry, it's more like being jealous and resentful. Reasoning. He is really sour. At the Battle of Red Cliffs, he suffered a huge setback at the hands of Zhuge Liang, completely shattering his dream of unifying the world. Today, Qin Feng's words once again dealt him a heavy blow. After 1800 years, surprisingly, there will still be so many people who remember and worship Zhuge Liang. Zhuge Liang is the Prime Minister, and Cao Cao is also the Prime Minister. Looking at the high evaluation of Zhuge Liang by future generations, he will be unique in the hearts of the world. So what is Cao Cao? Isn't this slapping his face in front of the whole world? Father, calm down. Zhuge Liang is just a wave of nominal people. The true talents of governing the world and the country are actually on our side. Qiao Pai looked at Sima next to him with a hint of meaning. The young master praised falsely. Sima humbly lowered his head. Zhongde is indeed a great talent. Cao Cao nodded in agreement and said, I believe that in the future, Zhongde will be the Duke of Guo from my Cao family. May I go through fire and water for the Cao family for generations. Sima immediately knelt down to show loyalty. Dongwu, Jianye. Liu Bei wants to dream of the emperor, and Zhuge Liang also wants to join in the fun. Alright, then let's fight. Sun Quan felt very unhappy in his heart. Does Liu Bei, as a weaver and peddler of shoes, also have the delusion of proclaiming himself emperor? Otherwise, I won the Battle of Red Cliffs and lent him a foothold in Jingzhou. He wouldn't know where to become a homeless dog. My lord, Mi Fang and Fu Shiren from Jingzhou have sent a secret letter, and they sincerely surrendered to me in Dongwu. Lu Sun ran over to report and couldn't help but look at the picture of the sky. Wuhou Temple, Prime Minister Zhuge, I wish I had such a high evaluation. Great. Sun Quan was overjoyed and immediately ordered, go tell LV Meng that the plan to cross the river in white clothes can be implemented. This sneak attack must take Jingzhou, and Guan you must not have any way out. Obey me. Lu Sun agreed and immediately retreated to prepare. Chengdu, Palace. Qin Feng's evaluation stunned all the rulers and ministers of Shu Han. Everyone silently looked at Zhuge Liang, their eyes seeming to change. When Duke Gu was alive, he didn't notice anything unusual. After Duke Ji's death, there was no comparison between him. To have such an evaluation, there is only one prime minister in the world. Liu Bei finally smiled with relief and looked at Zhuge Liang as if he was looking at some treasure. He boasted, let me just say it. There must be some misunderstanding in between. Zhuge Liang wiped the sweat off his forehead and finally breathed a sigh of relief. He is really nervous. Good guy. The Battle of Red Cliffs was a battle of words and scholars. Faced with Cao Cao's million-strong army, Zhuge Liang had never been timid, but almost scared a young man from 1800 years later to death. But soon, Zhuge Liang realized that this was an excellent opportunity. He made a decisive decision and said, Your Highness, I have praised you too much. Your Highness, I have a word to say, not to speak out or be displeased. Military advisor, please speak. Liu Bei nodded, his expression clearly more serious than before. Qin Feng's words had a huge impact on his heart. From this moment on, Liu Bei decided to trust Zhuge Liang without reservation. Zhang Fei, Huang Zhong, Ma Chao, Zhao Yun, Fa Zheng, and others also perked up their ears to listen carefully. If before this, they only regarded Zhuge Liang as a military strategist, then now Zhuge Liang's weight in their hearts has obviously increased countless times. My lord, since the Battle of Hanzhong, our army has achieved a complete victory. General Guan once again flooded the 7th Army in the Battle of Xiangfan, which shook China with awe. Our soldiers' morale is like a rainbow, which is certainly very good. But Liang's heart always has a vague sense of unease. Please, Lord and your colleagues, always be cautious and afraid, and never be arrogant or complacent. Zhuge Liang spoke out all his thoughts in one breath. He is very grateful to Qin Feng. If it weren't for this young man from 1800 years ago, he probably wouldn't have found any opportunity to admonish Liu Bei, who had already been overwhelmed by victory. I didn't expect it. Zhuge Liang's words did not have any effect. Everyone present showed an inexplicable smile, and even Liu Bei didn't pay much attention to his words. Ha ha ha, I'm talking about military strategists. Ah no, it should be the Prime Minister. You are always so careful and cautious. Are you tired? Zhang Fei was the first to jump out and burst into laughter, saying, Isn't that kid from later generations already saying it clearly? Emperor Zhaolai of Han. What does this mean? It means that our elder brother will definitely become an emperor in the future. Wei Yan also chimed in and said, General Ida is absolutely right. Perhaps this indicates that the Battle of Xiangfan is about to achieve a complete victory. General Guan will soon move north from Xiangfan to attack Shudu and welcome the Lord over. You're right, that's definitely what happened. The auspicious omen bestowed by heaven is to prepare us for the coronation of His Majesty. I can guarantee that within 3 months, the Battle of Xiangfan will definitely come to an end. The civil and military officials of Shu Han were extremely excited, eager to immediately let Liu Bei ascend to the throne and proclaim himself emperor. They could all follow the example of the dragon's ministers. "Master, what third brother and his team said is good. Don't tire yourself too much. In the future, you will have to support the great Han dynasty." Liu Bei was praised so much that he became ecstatic and even fantasized about becoming the emperor. Zhuge Liang was dumbfounded. The more they calm down, the crazier they become. However, why did the Prime Minister's Wuhou temple merge with the Lord's tomb? What exactly is going on? A voice suddenly rang out in the crowd, making everyone quiet. Yeah. Since Zhuge Liang is one of the few great loyal ministers of ancient and modern times, how could he do such a heinous and immoral thing? This doesn't even make sense. Isn't this simple yet? Liu Bei looked at Zhuge Liang and exclaimed with emotion, "Back in the day, I, Liu Bei, had no more than 10,000 soldiers and traveled around with great ambitions, but had no place to stand. I only achieved what I have today after encountering the Prime Minister and seeing the sun through the clouds. In the Battle of Red Cliffs, I won a great victory over Cao Cao, took control of Sichuan, and established a stable foundation. The Prime Minister is my servant. I'm afraid that in the future, when I ascend to the throne and proclaim myself emperor, the Prime Minister will also devote himself wholeheartedly. With such great efforts, how about Liu Bei sharing the ancestral temple with him? So all of this must be my decision, not related to the Prime Minister." Shu Han's culture and martial arts suddenly realized. That makes sense. If Liu Bei gives the order himself, it has nothing to do with Zhuge Liang. Moreover, Liu Bei is known for his benevolence, so it is not surprising to have such a decision. Reasonable, truly worthy of being a big brother. Zhang Fei raised his thumb and looked at Liu Bei with admiration on his face. People all say that the Lord is hypocritical, it seems that the world is short-sighted and has misunderstood the Lord. Fa Zheng repeatedly praised. The others also nodded silently, adding a touch of respect and admiration to Liu Bei's gaze. "You all praise me too much." Liu Bei waved his hand, looking confident. Chapter 7. Blessing the Monarch for 1,000 years after death, the only way in the world. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Zhuge Liang's brain is almost dry and burning. Is that really the case? At this point, the sound of Qin Feng echoed again in the picture. Everyone must be curious why the Wuhou Temple and the Han Zhaolai Temple Fair are placed together. Of course, there is a reason for this. Upon hearing this sentence, everyone instantly fell silent and stared intently at the scene. Wuhou Temple. Qin Feng began to tell the origin of the Wuhou Temple and the Han Zhaolai Temple. In fact, at the beginning, the Wuhou Temple and the Hui Mausoleum buried by Emperor Lai of the Han Dynasty, Liu Bei, were not in the same place. Just over 1,000 years later, Zhu Chun, the son of Ming Taizu Zhu Yuanzhang, was granted the title of King of Shu and his fiefdom was located in Chengdu. One day, he passed by Huiling and found that the area was sparsely populated. In contrast, the Wuhou Temple was bustling with incense and was very dissatisfied. Why is the incense burning to commemorate courtiers even more vigorous than the incense burning to commemorate monarchs? So he ordered that Zhuge Liang's Wuhou Temple be moved to the back of Han Zhaolai Temple, hoping that more people could offer incense to Liu Bei. But who knew that cleverness would backfire? Zhuge Liang's influence in the hearts of the people of Shu Han far exceeded that of Emperor Zhaolai Liu Bei. When people came to the Han Zhaolai Temple, they still called it the Wuhou Temple. That's why Han Zhaolai Temple and Wuhou Temple are merged into one. In other words, if it weren't for Zhuge Liang's protection, the Han Zhaolai Temple would have been flattened and roads repaired long ago. I am a local, and I can prove that this is indeed the case. Once, the government was building a road and was passing by the Zhaolai Temple. The officials unanimously agreed to flatten the temple for road construction. However, someone said there was also the Wuhou Temple inside, so the road construction plan was forced to be suspended. Haha, this is the first time I've heard of it. It's really interesting. The anchor did a good job, come on. I have been to Chengdu once, and Liu Bei's reputation in Sichuan cannot compare to Zhuge Liang's. 3 Kingdoms. The Shu Palace was completely silent. The officials were dumbfounded, and Liu Bei was also dumbfounded. After causing trouble for a long time, the result is like this. If it weren't for Zhuge Liang, Liu Bei wouldn't even be able to see a grave head. Nima. Just now, I was just exaggerating and talking about why Zhuge Liang shared the sacrifice. It was a gift from Liu Bei, and he cherished his talent and showed magnanimity. It's good now. It's all reversed. The flourishing incense in the Zhaolai temple is entirely due to the credit of Zhuge Liang. Face up. That's too embarrassing. Liu Bei only felt his old face burning hot and suffocating, almost making him dig out a tiger prison on the spot. Zhuge Liang also has difficulty breathing. In front of so many people, saying that Liu Bei can enjoy 1,000 years of incense is all due to the light of his Zhuge Liang, which is not in line with the way of a ruler or minister. How will this make him behave in the future? How to get along with Liu Bei? Su Du, Prime Minister's office. Haha, you're so lonely. Upon hearing Qin Feng's explanation, Cao Cao burst into tears with a smile and gasped for breath. It turns out that Liu Bei's child is so unbearable. To live, he relies on Zhuge Liang, and to die, he must rely on Zhuge Liang for incense. As soon as Liu Bei knew about this, Cao Cao couldn't help but want to laugh. What if we win the Battle of Hanzhong? You, Liu Bei, are not even a vassal and still want to become an emperor. Do you still want to have a face? Xianfan battlefield. How unreasonable is that? Where is this son? Guan wants to kill him. Guan Yu's angry face turned even redder. His elder brother was able to enjoy the incense, but surprisingly, he still caught the light of Zhuge Liang. Is this what people say? His elder brother is a ruler, and Zhuge Liang is a minister. Since ancient times, how could a monarch rely on his subordinates to enjoy sacrificial offerings? Isn't it clear that Liu Bei is incompetent? Can Guan Yu tolerate it? In the early Han dynasty. Changle Palace. TSK, my descendants are really lucky. What kind of luck is it to have such a loyal minister who can continue to bless him even after death? Liu Bang expressed envy for his real name. In his lifetime, there were also many capable people around him, but there were hardly anyone who could remain loyal to him from beginning to end. Let's talk about the 3 heroes of the Han dynasty. Xiao He is self-indulgent and only knows how to indulge in pleasure, afraid of being feared by Liu Bang. Zhang Liang retreated and spent his days searching for immortals and seeking enlightenment in the deep mountains and forests. Han Xian was even more exaggerated and directly prepared to rebel. In the end, Liu Bang became a lonely family without even a trusted confidant to entrust his affairs to. If he could have a Zhuge Liang, he would be able to wake up from his dreams with a smile. De Han, Weiyang Palace. When Liu Che heard that Zhuge Liang had died 1,000 years ago and was still protecting Liu Bei, the envy in his eyes was about to overflow. Especially after learning that Crown Prince Liu Ju and Empress Wei Zifu conspired to rebel. Feeling extremely lonely, he really hopes to have someone he completely trusts by his side. If there is one person in this dynasty who can protect me for 1,000 years, it may only be you, Huoguang. Liu Che's eyes lit up and he placed all his hopes on Huoguang. Daqin. Zhangtai Hall. Zhuge Liang, rare from ancient to modern times. Yingzheng couldn't help but sincerely admire it. Although he also felt that the monarch was not very honorable due to the light of his courtiers, what if he could still bless 1,000 years after death, even if it was not very honorable? Compared to others, Yingzheng can only use the terracotta warriors to bless his tomb after death. In this comparison, he surprisingly falls slightly behind. However, Yuanzhang was convinced of his defeat this time. After all, people like Zhuge Liang are the only ones in ancient and modern times. This person is truly a role model for our generation. Li Si couldn't help but feel a deep respect. He is also the prime minister of the great Qin dynasty, and of course, he also hopes that after his death, he can be as famous as Zhuge Liang for 100 generations. Zhao Gao, who was standing by, secretly sneered to himself. What blesses 1,000 years, the only one in ancient and modern times. When a person dies, there is nothing left. Only by living with grandeur and grandeur can one live a life worthy of oneself. After the death of Emperor Shi, the world of Great Qin will surely be dominated by me, Zhao Gao. Daming. The 10th year of the Wanli reign. Shuntian Prefecture, Forbidden City. Zhuge Wuhou. Young Ming Emperor Zhu looked at the sky with a cold smile and said, "Unfortunately, there was no Zhuge Liang in my Ming dynasty, only Guan." As soon as these words were spoken, the eunuchs around were all trembling with fear. Who is Guan? The most powerful minister of the Western Han dynasty, can arbitrarily depose and establish an emperor. If someone in Daming could become Guan, it must be Zhang. Initially, Zhu was able to secure this throne thanks to Zhang efforts to turn the tide. At the beginning, Zhu and Zhang had a harmonious relationship, just like Liu Bei and Zhuge Liang. Unfortunately, later on, Zhu grew increasingly disgusted with Zhang's control of the court, and every day he longed for him to die. Capital, Zhang Mansion. In the study, the elderly Zhang bowed down and finished his official duties. He stopped writing and looked at the scene in the sky with a pleased smile, saying, "Daming, I finally have a thriving future in my hands. Although I may not be comparable to Zhuge Wuhou, having such achievements is enough to comfort my life." Chapter 8. Song Jiang's Anti-Poetry, Guan Yu. I heard that. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The song. Yanggu County. On the second-floor window of a household, there sat a beautiful woman as beautiful as flowers and jade. She stared at the sky foolishly and murmured, "This young man is really handsome, but unfortunately he was born in a later life. If we could have had some fun together, it wouldn't have been a loss for my delicate body. Madam, I'm back." Just as Pan Jinlian was dreaming, the short and thick Wu Dalong carried a burden back home. Pan Jinlian's face was full of disgust, and she didn't even want to look at him. Wu Dalong had a good temper and didn't say anything. He slapped the dust on his sleeve without hesitation. Zunyangjiang Restaurant. What a Zhuge Wuhou, he is truly rare to find for eternity. Song Jiang's face turned red as he drank, and he tilted his gaze to look at the scene in the sky. He was a bit drunk, and upon hearing Zhuge Liang's evaluation in later generations, he couldn't help but feel inspired and ambitious. Not to mention reaching the height of Zhuge Liang, even if he had a place in the court, he would have died without regrets. Helplessly, I became a murderer, running around all day like a street mouse. Looking at Zhuge Liang, he has already become a divine figure in the hearts of the world. Thinking of this, Song Jiang felt resentful and felt that his passion and talent were nowhere to be displayed. He couldn't help but slap the table and shout, "Waiter, take care of me with pen and ink. Come on." The waiter brought the 4 treasures of the study. Song Jiang walked crookedly to the wall, picked up a brush, splashed ink, and waved his brush. "My heart is in Shandong and my body is in Wu. I drift across the river and sea, sighing and groaning." If he were to soar above the clouds, he would dare to laugh at Huang Chao for not being a husband. Ha ha ha. It's so great, so great. Song Jiang laughed 3 times, threw away his brush, and left the restaurant drunk. After he left, another person saw this poem and was immediately shocked. Anti-poetry. This is anti-poetry. Hello Song Jiang, I see you don't want to learn from Zhuge Liang, you want to learn from Cao Cao. The person's eyes turned and immediately wrote down this poem, walking straight towards the local government. Wuhou Temple. Qin Feng continued to explain the story of Zhuge Liang and Liu Bei. From the Battle of Sangu Thatched Cottage to the Battle of Red Cliffs, and then to the Battle of Western Sichuan, he won a great victory over Cao Cao in the Battle of Hanzhong. In the Three Kingdoms period, Cao Cao held 6 provinces in the Central Plains, with a dense population, abundant resources, strong troops, and strong strength. Sun Jian, Sun Su, and Sun Quan, father and son, have been operating in Jiangdong for 3 generations and have long been favored by the local people. Although their strength is not as strong as Cao Cao, it cannot be underestimated. Only Liu Bei had no troops, no food, and even no place to stand. But since Zhuge Liang emerged from the mountains, Liu Bei has never been short of troops, horses, food, and supplies. His territory has grown larger and his family has also become richer. In that chaotic era, Liu Bei was able to rise steadily from a weaver of mats and shoes, surpassing countless feudal lords, and opening up a situation where the 3 kingdoms were in power. Zhuge Liang was an indispensable contributor. De Han. Chang'e Palace. Liu Bang couldn't help but exclaim, "I didn't expect that later generations would also have characters like Xiao He. There are probably not many people in this world who can receive such an evaluation from him." After all, Xiao He was the core figure who paved the way for the 400 years of the Han dynasty. It can be said that without Xiao He, Liu Bang would have been killed by Xiang Yu long ago. 3 Kingdoms. Su Du, Prime Minister's Office. Humph, Liu Bei's child is really lucky to have such a talented person. Cao Cao snorted sourly and coldly. If it weren't for Zhuge Liang, perhaps he wouldn't have been defeated in the Battle of Red Cliffs, and perhaps he would have already ruled the world by now. Chengdu, the palace of the king of Shu. This statement is not empty. Liu Bei took a deep look at Zhuge Liang and loudly said in front of everyone, "Back then, I was chased by Cao Cao and LV Bu, and I was as frightened as a lost dog. If it weren't for Mr. Chu's departure, how could Liu Bei have the situation we have today?" The officials also nodded in agreement. In the Shu Han camp, no one can deny the credit of Zhuge Liang. Even many of them were personally promoted by Zhuge Liang. This. Zhuge Liang was dizzy with the sudden praise and didn't know what to say. He couldn't help but glance at Qin Feng in the picture in the sky, just wanting him to stop talking. Only by being low-key can one last long. Who expected? Suddenly, a mournful cry came from the sky. Alas, unfortunately, if it weren't for Dongwu's rebellion and backstabbing of Guan Yu, which led to Guan Yu's death, Jingzhou would have suffered losses, and Zhang Fei, Fa Zheng, Huang Zhong, Ma Chao, Liu Bei and others would have died suddenly within 1 or 2 years. Perhaps Zhuge Liang could have really helped Liu Bei build the Great Han. Boom. As soon as these words were spoken, everyone in the palace of the king of Shu was thunderous. What? Dongwu backstabbing? Aren't they allies with us? What exactly is going on? General Zhang, General Huang, and General Ma were all killed one after another, even the Lord. How could this be? Isn't the Lord an emperor now? Why is the situation so bad? All the civil and military officials in the Shu Han camp were confused. Qin Feng's words are simply bad news for them. Dongwu's rebellion. Guan Yu was killed. Jingzhou is lost. These 3 events are deadly. If anything happens, the entire Shu Han dynasty may suffer a catastrophic disaster. If 3 things happen at the same time, it's really a disaster on the horizon. Impossible. My second brother is invincible in the world, how could he be killed by the Dongwu rat generation? Liu Bei's face turned pale and he looked at the sky in a daze, clearly frightened. Zhuge Liang felt as if he had been hit hard by someone in his heart. Sure enough. The worried thing still happened. Xiangfan battlefield. Guan Yu sat inside the camp, writing one military order after another. He is preparing to gather his troops and fight to the death against Chao Ren stationed in Fancheng. Father, things are not going well. Guan Ping rushed into the tent in a panic. Why are you so panicked? Guan Yu put down his brush and frowned as he gazed at his son. You can be considered someone who has experienced a big scene. Why are you still so restless when it comes to doing things? How can Jingzhou be entrusted to you with peace of mind in the future? Father, just now the boy in the sky said, Dongwu will turn against us, our army will be defeated in the battle of Xiangfan, and if Jingzhou is lost, not to mention it, even you, father. Guan Ping lowered his head and dared not say more. Even me, what? Guan Yu's voice was calm and terrifying. Even my father will be killed by Dongwu. Guan Ping mustered up the courage and said. Haha, it's just a joke. Guan Yu laughed confidently as he looked up at the sky and said, the rat generation of Dongwu are all the years of those who sell labels. They want to kill Guan too much. It's simply beyond their ability. Guan Ping quickly advised, but father, that young man is from 1800 years ago. He must know everything that happened in our era, so we should be careful. Guan Yu was full of pride and stubbornness, and he said defiantly, I led a navy of 30,000, each of whom was a seasoned elite. Jingzhou is as strong as gold and even Cao Cao was beaten by me and prepared to move to the capital. Guan couldn't think of how the Dongwu rat generation could kill me. Chapter 9. Liu Bei is angry, the rat generation of Dongwu is too cruel. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Just as Guan Yu was angry, Qin Feng's voice once again reached his ears. Many people may not be familiar with the incident of Guan Yu's murder, so the anchor will provide a detailed introduction to the process here. Both Guan Yu and Guan Ping, father and son, silently closed their mouths and carefully listened to Qin Feng's explanation. Liu Bei and his ministers in the palace of Shu also perked up their ears, held their breath, afraid of missing a word. Qin Feng held his phone in the Wuhou temple, taking a walk and explaining. Actually, Guan Yu is good everywhere, but he has a fatal flaw, which is arrogance. Except for his elder brother Liu Bei, no one takes him seriously. Upon hearing Qin Feng's evaluation, Guan Yu couldn't help but twitch his lips, but couldn't think of anything to refute. Really, he has lived a proud life, only bowing his head to Liu Bei. Qin Feng's statement is not wrong. Unfortunately, it was this weakness that took his life. Qin Feng continued to explain, it is precisely because he is proud that he looks down on the Jiangdong rat generation. And Lv Meng and Lu Sun of the Eastern Wu dynasty took advantage of his weakness by constantly writing letters to flatter him, especially after flooding the 7th Army. They even flattered him 3 times a day, claiming that Guan Yu was a heavenly god descending to earth, and they dared not have the slightest intention of offending him. As he spoke, Guan Yu really believed him. He thought Dongwu was afraid of him. If you ask me, Guan Yu's mind is too simple. In a chaotic world, life and death exist. Even the most fearful person will struggle to survive. If you, Guan Yu, really succeed in the northern expedition, won't the Dongwu rat generation be afraid? They will definitely try their best to kill you. Liu Meng took advantage of Guan Yu's personality weakness, numbing him while secretly plotting against Mi Fang and Fu Shiren. He then had the soldiers change into white clothes worn by the common people and secretly cross the Xiang River, taking Jiangling without bloodshed. Jiangling is a deadly place. With Guan Yu's 30,000 elite sailors, the vast majority of people's families are all in Jiangling, including their parents, wives, and children. As soon as the news of Jiangling being captured spread, Guan Yu's military morale immediately became chaotic. His parents, wife, and children were all gone, and he even farted. As a result, more and more soldiers began to defect. Even if Guan Yu is the current god of war, invincible in the world, he is still unbeatable with 2 fists and 4 hands. In the end, he ended up with a different head. It's really sad and lamentable. After listening to Qin Feng's explanation, Guan Yu's blood suddenly became cold, and he sat in the tent, feeling lost, with layers of goosebumps all over his body. He, who had just become arrogant, now has lost his arrogance and his head is buzzing. Qin Feng's words may seem teasing, but they hit Guan Yu's doorstep with every sentence. Really, if it's true as Qin Feng said, Guan Yu really has no chance of winning. Even the weakness of his rebellious personality has been taken into account in Dongwu, and he must have been prepared for a long time. What's even worse is that the rebellion of Mi Fang and Fu Shiren, even if let Guan Yu guess 1,000 times or 10,000 times, he couldn't guess. Who is Mi Fang? Liu Bei's brother. Law, the current national uncle. Will people like him also rebel? And Fu Shiren. When Liu Bei first rebelled, he had a group of old brothers under his command. After years of war, most of these brothers had already passed away, leaving only 3 people. Besides Guan Yu and Zhang Fei, it's Fu Shiren. With the qualifications and backgrounds of Mi Fang and Fu Shiren, how could they also rebel? Guan Yu instantly felt that all 3 views were about to collapse. This is impossible. He covered his head in disbelief. It's completely possible. Guan Ping said confidently, "Father, before your expedition, Mi Fang and Fu Shiren sold military weapons and committed the crime of death. At that time, you said you would deal with them after the Battle of Xiangfan. I'm afraid they have long harbored a grudge, thinking that even if their father wins, they will still have a hard time escaping. It's better to just do the opposite without stopping." That's just a joke from Guan. The 2 of them have a close relationship with Big Brother. How could Guan easily kill them? Guan Yu smiled bitterly in his heart. At that time, he was only momentarily angry and wanted to scare these 2 people, but he didn't expect to make such a big mistake. I'm afraid the speaker was unintentional, but the listener was intentional. The palace of the king of Shu. Liu Bei almost fainted on the spot. Especially when Qin Feng exposed the combat plan of Eastern Wu, he was already desperate. No solution. This battle plan, from Guan Yu's personality traits, to utilizing the clothing of the common people, and finally seizing the most crucial Jiangling, was all within the plan of Eastern Wu. More importantly, Liu Bei realized that it was not just Guan Yu who was arrogant. Guan Yu is just a microcosm. At this moment, isn't the entire Shuhan group full of pride? Even when hearing Qin Feng mention Emperor Zhaolai of Han, everyone was fantasizing about Liu Bei ascending to the throne and proclaiming himself emperor, recreating the scene of the Great Han. Even Liu Bei himself was already drifting away, full of fantasies. Liu Bei is wrong. Liu Bei suddenly woke up and knelt down with tears streaming down his face, saying, if it weren't for this little brother's words revealing the truth, the foundation that Liu Bei worked hard to create would have been almost destroyed. He turned around and looked at Zhuge Liang with a heart-wrenching expression, saying, "Master, it's only at this moment that I understand your good intentions. You are truly the only one in history." Just now, Zhuge Liang earnestly advised him not to be arrogant and complacent, but to maintain a cautious attitude, but he didn't take it seriously. Now he finally understands what it means to lose all the game if one move is careless. The civil and military officials of Shu Han also lowered their heads in shame. People like Li Yan and Quan were initially very dissatisfied, thinking that why Zhuge Liang is the only one in history. Where are they lacking? But at this moment, they were convinced. Zhuge Liang was able to remain sober when he should have lost his sanity the most, and still tried his best to persuade Liu Bei, especially after the prophecy from heaven confirmed that Liu Bei would become emperor in the future, he could still remain so sober. With so many people from all over Shu Han, who can truly achieve this? Lord, it's not too late to wake up now. Zhuge Liang quickly lifted Liu Bei and couldn't help but look at the Qin Feng still explaining in the sky, feeling grateful in his heart. This young man saved Zhuge Liang, Liu Bei and Guan Yu, and even the entire Han dynasty. Yes, I will personally rush to Jingzhou to save my second brother. Liu Bei finally came to his senses and immediately made the most correct choice. There is no one to save Guan Yu, only Liu Bei himself can have enough prestige to quell this chaos. Why do you need to personally go, Lord? If you have a plan, you can easily defeat the enemy. Zhuge Liang smiled confidently. Oh. Military, come on. Liu Bei was immediately overjoyed. He has never been as grateful as he is now that Zhuge Liang is by his side. Chapter 10. Conspiracy startles the world, Sun Quan is about to explode with anger. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Wuhou Temple. Qin Feng was attentively explaining when he suddenly saw several strange speeches appearing below the live broadcast room. Liu Bei. Second brother, can you see it? I'm Big Brother Liu Bei. Guan Yu. Big Brother, I saw it. I'm sorry, Big Brother, I lost Jingzhou, and I deserve to die for it. Liu Bei. Second brother, there is still room for resolution in this matter. I have ordered Lu Feng and Meng De to lead an army of 30,000 and rush to aid at night. My third brother and Zilong have set off, and we will arrive in Jingzhou in 3 days. Liu Bei. Sun Quan, listen to me. If you tear up the alliance and break your promise, I, Liu Bei, will never give up easily. Liu Bei. Chow Chow, the battle of Xiangfan has come to an end. We will each stop and make peace. Second brother, I command you to immediately withdraw from Xiangfan and return to Jiangling. Before I arrive, do not act rashly. Qin Feng was bewildered. He just popularized the imperial tomb and historical knowledge. Why did some netizens enter the drama and still play role-playing in the live broadcast room? Ha ha ha, I'm laughing to death. Is that all for now? Aren't you guys too deep in the acting, right? Let you listen to popular science, are you really acting? If it's true, just show us 999 rockets. Not only Qin Feng, but also many netizens feel that this is just malicious mischief. No one thinks that the real Liu Bei and Guan Yu will appear in a small anchor's live broadcast room. Su Du, Prime Minister's office. Look, Liu Bei's child is in a hurry. Chow Chow looked at the message in Qin Feng's live broadcast room with a smile and sarcastically joked. He doesn't have much fun in this life, as a wife is one. Watching Liu Bei make a fool of himself is also one. But a joke is a joke, and what needs to be done must still be done. Chow Chow's eyes twitched and he immediately responded to Liu Bei in the live broadcast room. Chow Chow. Xuanda, when will Su Du come again to cook wine with my green plums? Guan Yu retreated, and the battle of Xiangfan came to an end. This was the outcome that Chow Chow most hoped to see. Since Liu Bei has already softened, he naturally will not provoke this lion. Dongwu. Pop. Sun Chuanqi's beard stood upright, his eyes caught fire, and he threw something to the ground. Vertical. How dare and disrupt my plan? He cursed loudly. I wish I could pull Qin Feng out of the picture and tear him into pieces. This was originally an excellent opportunity to recapture Jingzhou. But all the plans were exposed by that despicable boy. Now it's ready. Liu Bei knows, Chow Chow knows, and everyone in the world knows. Even Sun Quan also saw a lot of mockery in the live broadcast room, saying what he was, such as Sun 100000, King of Wu of Great Wei, etc. After seeing the meanings of these nicknames, he almost exploded with anger. Not only are people from later generations cursing him, but many contemporary people are also criticizing him. Ji Kong. He is truly the Jiangdong rat generation. Not only does he betray his allies, but he also goes to war under the guise of the common people. He is simply an unscrupulous and shameless person. Xiahou Xian. How could there be such shameless people in the world? I'm going to vomit. Deng AI. It's really embarrassing to be in the same world as this person. General Guan is right, he is indeed a group of Jiangdong rats. Da Qin. Zhangtai Hall. Yingzheng also showed a disdainful smile and shook his head, saying, this Dongwu faction is really not a thing. Not only does it harm its allies, but it also uses the common people as a shield. Li Si and other officials of the Great Qin also nodded in agreement. The entire Great Qin dynasty, including Yingzheng, believed in the way of hegemony. If you want to win, then do it with real swords and guns on the battlefield, and don't use those hidden tricks. Only Zhao Gao's eyes shone, as if he had met a confidant. He felt that Yingzheng and the officials of the Great Qin dynasty were all foolish. What does cunning and treachery count as? As long as the goal can be achieved, even sacrificing all costs is worth it. De Han. Weiyang Palace. After listening to Qin Feng's explanation, Liu Bang almost jumped up from his bed in anger. These sons of bitches are really shameless, they are even lower than me. Back then, I naturally built my own path and lived in secret, but at least I didn't use the common people as a shield. I also openly killed Xiang Yu on the battlefield. Compared to the group of mice like Dongwu, Liu Bang, who has always been shameless, feels much taller. Liu Che's face was cold and his breath fluctuated, obviously also angered by the naughty actions of the rat like Dongwu. Especially using the common people as a shield is shameless to the extreme. Dongwu, Jianye. Seeing more and more people criticizing him verbally, Sun Quan was really scared and immediately clarified in the live broadcast room. Sun Quan. Uncle Liu misunderstood. The Sun and Liu families are already in an alliance. How did they come to this point? Uncle Liu, please rest assured that Dongwu will never deploy a single soldier, let alone step into Jingzhou. Jiangxia County. LV Meng's face turned terrifyingly black. He has worked hard for today's needs, even resorting to using the people as a shield and insulting them, regardless of everything, just to win Jingzhou. It's great now that a kid from 1800 years later exposed all his plans. This battle cannot be fought anymore. It's not reasonable at first, and the sneak attack plan is still fully known by others. Is this just a fart? Retreat. LV Meng gritted his teeth and spat out 2 words. Jiangling. Mi Fang and Fu Shiren stared wide and small, with a look of despair on their faces. They were just plotting to set fire in 3 days and open the city gate to allow the Eastern Wu Navy to enter. The appearance of Qin Feng completely disrupted their plans and exposed their ambitions. Liu Bei. Mi Fang and Fu Shiren, if you two dare to rebel, it is now widely known. If you two still have a trace of dignity, you can take it upon yourself to apologize to the world. Otherwise, when I arrive in Jingzhou, your fate may not be so good. In the live broadcast room, Liu Bei left a message for Mi Fang and Fu Shiren. What should I do? Fu Shiren's face turned pale with fear. It's all over now. All the plans have been known by Liu Bei, and it is estimated that Guan Yu may also be on his way riding a horse. What else can we do? Let's run. Mi Fang made a decisive decision and prepared to pack up and run away, returning to her hometown in Shuzhou. Fu Shiren also followed closely behind. Where do you want to go? A sharp and cold voice sounded, instantly causing Mi Fang and Fu Shiren's blood to coagulate all over their bodies. I saw a tall figure carrying a long knife, silently appearing in front of them. General Guan. Why did you come back so quickly? Seeing Guan Yu appear in front of him like a ghost, Mi Fang and Fu Shiren were scared out of their souls. Humph, luckily I came back quickly, otherwise you would have really run away. Guan Yu gave a cold smile. Previously, he had some doubts in his heart, thinking that not everything Qin Feng said was necessarily right. Therefore, upon receiving Liu Bei's order, he immediately rode a red rabbit horse back to Jiangling. I didn't expect the result to be as Qin Feng said. These 2 thieves are really going to rebel.